four-man mosh pit followed by Entomb. Oh no!
Oh, a huge light bomb coming in on the Genji, and that's a 5-man light bomb. They're gonna follow up, and they're gonna get 1, 2, 3 kills.
And it's gonna be everybody dying. Oh my God! When does this happen? Everybody's dead.
G'day, and welcome to me forgetting to turn off music. Right, now that we've done that this time, welcome to another Nexus Gaming series cast. I am your host for Line Bus. Today we have a Division C East cast between the teams of All Random All Middle Age facing off against Nexus Cats. And I should probably note that Nexus Cats, nope, not one that picked the first map. But right, coin toss, All Random All Middle Aged won, so they chose first pick. We then got Nexus Cats banning out Tomb of the Spider Queen, All Random Middle Age doing Ultarac, Nexus Cats doing Cursed Hollow, and then Infernal Shrines banned out by All Random All Middle Age. So that then leads us to Dragonshire, which by the looks like we're going to be starting in a few moments. So once that gets going, I'll switch it on over. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. There we go. If I could be just faster on the button to make sure I have everything ready, yeah, sure, that'd be great. But right, let's have a look. First ban, again, I don't know too much about the teams. The teams aren't exactly my division. I just know they are both pretty confident teams. I do like them a lot. There's a few good people here. So I guess we'll have to see where this goes to start. Well, I mean, usually, like to hazard a guess, we usually get like a tank bans or healer bans. Usually pretty good starts. Sometimes you even see globals like Tahaka Falstad, but I guess we'll see in just a few seconds. And now? Diablo, so we get a tank ban to start, which, to be fair, Diablo is one of those scarier ones, especially on things such as Dragonshire. Commentary is quite quiet. Okay, I'll turn it on up. It may just be because I'm not quite sitting up properly and I accidentally touched the microphone weirdly, which sometimes does affect it. But hopefully that will be a little bit better. I just do notice it is peaking on my input a little bit. Right. We actually do have tank for tank ban. Then we do see Blaze picked up. Well, I guess Blaze not necessarily a tank, but is still a very good healer in either the tank or bruiser roles. And we see Rexar banned out, which I'm surprised I haven't seen Rexar banned out more throughout all the series of Cast of Dragonshire. He's only been banned out once or twice. But I guess it must be that Nexus Cats have a Rexar player. They don't quite want to... That All Random All Middle Age doesn't quite want to use. And we see Greyman banned out, which, very good camp clear. Very good just in general wave clear, camp clear, kill secure. Just good all around hero. So give me one. It feels like there's something stuck in my throat, which really doesn't help with me talking, but here we are, back again. Right, so first pick. Is it going to be a Brightwing? Nope, Joanna. Pretty good first pick. In all honesty, that may have been my second guess. So, excellent stuff. So. And when picked up, I like it. Well, so thank you for telling me, Dingo, I should say. And we see also Chromie picked up. Actually, one of the first heroes I mained, which is kind of embarrassing to admit, but at least a fun one for me. I do like it. And Sawing Sand's obvious point could be deadly, to say the least. Anyone trapped in those who may have any issues going anywhere. So I imagine we're going to see... They don't necessarily need to pick another healer, but I imagine we're going to see healer damage here. Bruiser before the half would be interesting. Rhaegar and Malthael. I like the combo. Good stuff. Muffin Man. Well, Rhaegar, I should say. Pretty good at clearing things on their own. Decent healing output. And Malthael, just a pretty good offlaner in general. Sometimes he does struggle a bit more on maps where you have to fight a lot. He's definitely a very good double soaker. But he still does have some dealing capability. Especially once you pick up Die Alone at level 4. And we see a Lunara ban. Yeah, that's just, again, vision on this map is very important. And that Sentinel Wisp at level 1 can absolutely make or break those rotations. I need to invest up, maybe. There we go. Which means I can then turn this down a little bit. Final ban, what is it going to be? Probably another tank? Nope, we get a Zeratul ban, which, fair. Good movement, able to pick up that mid-wave relatively easily. I like it. We see Tychus picked up, good one. Nice burn for things such as Joanna, but keep in mind if Joanna goes double blind build, that would definitely make it harder for Tychus to save at least. And what is our second one? Leoric. I do like Leoric, one of my favorite bruisers, and does pretty well into Malfowl. It will very much be a skill matchup at this point, because if Leoric hits their Ws, they should trade slightly ahead, if not even, into Malfowl. But if they miss, Malfowl should be able to start snowballing it in their favor if they get aggressive. Final 2 pickups. What are we going to see? Damage, or offlane damage, or what are we going to see? Offlane damage it is. Dahaka and Vala. So, going to be very much a protect for Vala style composition. I do like the global value picked up by Dahaka. And this is something where Modus Trollin should be able to survive pretty well into a lot of things. So imagine we're also going to see Ancestral Healing Rhaegar, which will keep that hyper carry Vala alive. But Dahaka and Malfowl both very good. They can swap out who's dueling and who's going down. And we get a Garrosh to round out the compositions. I like it. I like Garrosh a lot. He is a fun one. He is definitely something on the list of, yeah, that's one I don't quite want to get in the way of, because if he just throws you behind directly into Chromie, slowing circle, or even her rewind, her temporal loop, that's what it's called, that could very much be an issue. But right, I'm going to put the game into the opening sequence, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the game start screen, so see you soon.
Oh, a swap. Oh no, but a swap followed by a light bulb.
Here. 4-man mosh pit followed by a tomb. Oh no!
Oh, a huge light bomb coming in on the Genji, and that's a 5-man light bomb. They're gonna follow up, and they're gonna get 1, 2, 3 kills.
And it's gonna be everybody dying. Oh my god, when does this happen? Everybody's dead.
We almost timed it perfectly. Didn't quite work out, but very close. So, without further ado, on the left-hand side, we have all random, all middle age with Juggerob on the Joanna. Modus Trollin is on the Vala. Barber is on the... it's like Space Yoshi. I can never remember what it's called. Dahaka. Muffin Man on the Rhaegar, and Poppin' Fresh on the Malfowl. And on the other side, we have Arthano on Tychus. Corfin is on the Leoric. Mark Zombie on Garrosh. Pet Wolverine on the Chromie. And Funky Soul is on the Anduin. Right, so I guess we'll see how this goes. And I guess if we're going to start a prediction, we may as well. No one has to do it by any means, but it would at least be something, shall it? Right, we can see a nice flip onto Juggerob. Juggerob needs to pop Iron Skin immediately. Actually, loses it almost pretty much immediately. Nice pull by Anduin, because Mark Zombie getting relatively low there. Probably not quite wanting to go down like that, but they do manage to get out. And we just, once again, everyone's actually... both tanks took a lot of damage. You can see Vala is thrown, does get it by the stun. That's Modus Trollin dead. And they actually lose a stack of Gambit just like that. And that is not quite what you want to see if you're the side of all random, all middle-aged. Right, we're getting aggressive onto Poppin' Fresh. Poppin' Fresh taking a lot of damage, but nope, he does manage to get out safely this time. Right, 2 minutes, let's go. Prediction's up for 2 minutes. Right, Root coming out, Juggerob barely dodging it. Good on all random, all middle age starting the camp early. They do get scouted, but actually Dahaka goes. I guess Garrosh threw Dahaka into wall, because that is a very dead Dahaka. It must have been just above where I was looking. Meanwhile, we do have Leoric alone top, safely just soaking, which, fair enough, may as well safely soak. But no, Poppin' Fresh has decided, you know what, you've had enough alone time, mate. I'm going to come up and ruin your fun. Chromie hits time stop onto Juggerog. Juggerog getting immediately hit by some sand in the face, which I think we've all been on a windy beach to the point where we're like, actually, no, don't like that. Welcome, Cobra Ain't a Hobo. I hope you're doing well this evening. Thank you for joining. But right, we do see Malfail manages to get top objective, stops it from going over to the side of Nexus Cats, but meanwhile Nexus Cats were able to get bottom. So all in all, it is a trade out. Juggerop taking a lot of damage in that process. Tychus doing work there, but not quite going to take anyone down. Barber has joined the side of random all middle age with a 4-man. Interesting that we're getting Dahaka down here. You'd think we'd get something like Malfail, but I guess Malfail will be a bit harder to live than the others, just because he doesn't have that burrow quite like Dahaka has. Dahaka at least has his get out card. Malfail just has to pray he has Mark on Mark Zombie and is able just to flip his way out of danger. Right, nice unstop by Joe. Manages to not get hit with the stun. Well, the flip, I should say, from Mark Zombie. We see that Mark Zombie's doing a little bit of damage here, but all in all, we do get a good wave clear, and that camp is just doing a decent amount of work, despite Vala being there to pepper it down slowly. Pet Wolverine is now joining the team. We can see that Leoric is getting pushed up on by both Malfail and Dahaka, which don't think you quite want to be there if you're Corfin. We do see the tongue comes out by Barber. However, Corfin does get out with their life, managing to survive. But at that time, it was Tychus finding the Dragon Knight in that very small window where they're trying to gank the Leoric, so to speak. But right, moving back down, let's have a look. Chromie slowing sand, not slowing sands out, but just throwing all that sand out, all the Qs, all the Ws. And just, all in honesty, it's just getting everywhere. It's coarse, rough, it gets everywhere. It's not Anakin's favorite by any means. Right, Modus Trolling just getting what damage they can out onto the Dragon Knight, up to 39 stacks now. Dragon Knight does go to kick Juggerop, however, Iron Skin is used. It is important to note. Looks like the side of All Random All Middle Age is looking to get very aggressive. Juggerop gets walked in on. Does get hit with a brief little Q from the Garrosh, but not much will come of it, and actually Juggerop decides to half, get back his health, get back his mana before re-engaging. Right, Dragon Knight is here to help clear the wave now. 2 seconds left. Doesn't quite give a kick on Dahaka, actually Dahaka burrows, and that will be the first objective done with bottom fort going down, which will make things right on. I was to say, which will make things a lot harder for All Random All Middle Age coming into this late objective, as I was kind of pointing out that there's no well, but while that's happening, I guess Leoric went to go die while I was just ranting for a little bit. And that was a very important kill for All Random All Middle Age, because it does actually help him out with that experience bonus. We see Pet Wolverine walking up. They do indeed have slowing sands. We can actually see that both siege camps were taken by All Random All Middle Age, so good aggression from them, especially because they're fighting. They don't do super great into a Garrosh, so they may as well try out macro them. Which, albeit if Garrosh decided to walk down there, that could have been a very oh no spot for whoever got flipped over this wall, because that's you need at least a decent amount of pathing to get around it. Oh, sorry. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. We do have Heroics coming through first, actually, for All Random All Middle Age, but not by enough where it matters. We do see Blessed Shield Joanna, who rips it immediately to see if he can get Garrosh. Garrosh throws Juggerop into the team. Slowing Sand, slowing down Modus Trolling and Muffin Man. There is the Ancestral Healing, and we also see Rain of Vengeance coming out. Barber gets a nice ball into Wolverine, however, they did also hit the isolation. But that is Rhaegar going down, sucking those slowing sands forever. Mark Zombie trying their best to hold on. Funky Soul does get a heal onto them. After meanwhile, tracing Modus Trollin. Modus Trollin is the one who goes down. And that will be a 2-for-0 over to the side of Nexus Cats. Gaining that kill advantage there. And more importantly, putting them hidden experience almost half a level up now. Because of, well, over half a level up now because of that one fight. Meanwhile, we do have Barber watching mid, seeing Corfin just clear. They don't quite want to engage and cause any commotion, so to speak. But we do see Malfail is holding just below top point. Is just going to step on it now to take it. Funky Soul trying to hit a root onto Barber. Barber, however, gets out of dodge, so he ain't going to get hit that easily. And it looks like that Nexus Cats are just kind of playing it a bit safe and just sieging mid. They realize like, hey, we don't need to really go anywhere else. We may as well just slap it a little bit. Pet Wolverine is holding by objective, ready to go. Juggerop gets thrown back out. And it looks like Blessed Shield was used, but didn't quite find its mark. Nice taunt by Mark Zombie. We do see Juggerop slowly being chased out. Arfano pumping in damage. Light Bomb directly on top of Modus Troll, and Cleanse comes out. However, Purge was not early enough from Ray Gun LBVM going down. We see Joanna going down next. Barber stuck in his slowing stance. Pet Wolverine has to cancel it because they're out of mana. But that is still a nice triple kill now over the side of all random all middle eight. Over the side of Nexus Cats. Man, I've really been messing up the teams recently. It's not ideal to say the least, is it? Right, and that will be the second thought of the game going over to the side of Nexus Cats. Let's just close that, just help the screen out a little. We see Corfin has capped top. We can see Arfano is already on that Dragonite. And now the team of Nexus Cats should be well aware that this camp is not quite taken yet. Mark Zombie is walking in. Does get tongued off it before he can do anything. Nice taunt by him, but he is already very low. Corfin gets the Entomb, stopping a lot of him from actually killing Garrosh. However, Malfail will flip over wall and still find him anyway. That percent damage, and I think Last Right's finding the kill. And we can see now a double kill over to the side of all random all middle-aged. Man, my throat's super dry. Sorry, I'll just have to take a quick drink after this one. Juggerob's just holding in that little lane there, making sure Dragonite doesn't get away with too much. Right. It looks like Dragonite goes for the kick. Barber, however, ducks under the ground for his tunneling cause. Doing a lot, actually, to keep them out of CC's trouble this game. Like, in all honesty, there's quite a few times where they get kicked, they get flipped, and would take a decent amount of damage. But those tunneling claws are keeping them relatively healthy. And the thing about Garrosh comps is they usually want a early lead. And we're starting to get out of that. We are out of that early game. We're into the mid game. So Garrosh is going to be a bit harder to pull off now, but he is still good, do not get me wrong. Just have to be much more selective with their team fights. Right, but they are now taking Siege Camp. So Nexus Cats went, you know what, you stole ours just before, like a minute and a half before, 2 minutes. We're going to steal yours, bud. How do you like that? Oh, it's 3 minutes, man. That's a long camp. That's longer than I thought it was. I guess I don't really look at the timers on the camps up until like, oh, it's capped a little bit ago. How long left? And we do now see Barber is in danger. They do try to get out, but they're not quite going to survive that one. And that will be a dead Dahaka. And we now see that all random all middle age are being forced to play very safely. They can't quite step up as much as they want to, which, understandable. It is definitely a lot of issues in the way. I don't know why I'm focusing on here. I should really make sure I do camera while I'm still talking. But there's a lot of issues that they're having currently with that Garrosh. So they're playing very conservatively. But meanwhile, we do see that the side of Nexus Cats are very much going, actually, we're going to run the map. Blind coming out of Mark Zombie. Mark Zombie not even in the bush now, just standing in the lane like, that was rude. So what do all random all middle age need to do to kind of get back in this? Well, I guess they do need to gain experience. That's the first thing. But I guess they could try to get more ganks onto the offlaner. The offlaner is one of the more exposed heroes, one of the easiest to get. Especially because we see the 4-man of all random all mage Nexus Cats playing so tightly. We see with Shield coming out here. We see actually a lot of ults being thrown out. And it is the Garrosh taking a lot of damage in the process. Unfortunately, for isolation, they couldn't quite see who they're getting on top of. Which, I guess, is unfortunate, but is how he works. That isolation can very much do a lot. And very good on all random all middle age. They took that fight actually down a person and were able to hold on. Sorry, give me a moment.
Earn power and destroy your enemies.
Man, I do not want to be getting sick right now. That's an issue. But we see Garrosh is trying to make sure that already middle age cannot quite step onto here, but keep in mind, we are even talents now. Joe nearly has shield back up. They can front to back this a little, so to speak, because they will also have Manticore online. Manticore very important for killing things such as Garrosh. Actually, Garrosh, one of the prime examples of why percent damage is good, because he gets up to like what, 50 armor when he dies. So on average, he may be sitting around 20 to 25 armor. That's a decent amount to get through, but that Manticore damage helps so much. Barber has vision on Mark Zombie. Mark Zombie gets slowed by that Earthgrass Totem, but then gets pulled in by the Haka. Nice light bomb, however, doesn't quite find anything. Juggerob actually finishes the quest. Popping fresh now here. Corfin doing a little bit of fight. Modus Troll and misses the hand, but doesn't miss the Entomb. However, Juggerob is the one who's going to go down. Modus Troll and rolls out of the Entomb. However, they haven't quite rolled out of danger, and that will be them getting a nice Rain of Vengeance off. They're trying their best to hold on, but they will not quite do so, and that is the Vala going down. It looks like instead of Dragon Knight or random or middle age, just want to push, which understandable. They can push it real good. Pop and Fresh seeing what they can do to slow down the oncoming storm that is all random or middle age, but they're like, maybe not, bud. You're not getting away with that one quite that easily, are ya? We do see Pop and Fresh going in, getting nice cleaves off, unstop used right as Garrosh wanted to taunt. And that is good. Nice pull by Anduin, keeping Arfano alive. He isn't quite that heal on pull, but he still did a decent amount. And actually, if you can see, that Nexus Cats has gotten a decent amount of core off with just that small, like, micro push, so to speak. But they have now all backed off as all 5 members of all random all middle age are up. So Nexus Cats want to play a bit safer, just playing passively. We can see Corfin is trying to stall. Does get W on the Barber. I don't think they'll be able to stall Barber again. Entomb does actually interrupt from Garrosh, then gets the flip on bottom. So that will be all she wrote there. Mark Zombie is there for Arfano. However, Arfano did have dash to get them out of danger. Corfin getting hit by the stun of Juggerob. We see Pop and Fresh going after him. Nice light bomb. Does actually hit Dahaka in process. Dahaka taking a decent amount of damage here, burrowing back down. We're going to have to zone all the way out and do this. Last right's coming out of Corfin. Corfin actually barely holds on. That's one last right stack that I thought was going to be found. It isn't. Meanwhile, Pet Wolverine isn't a dual Barber at bottom. Barber then called up to the rest of the team, going, hey, can you help us out, mate? And you're like, oh, I thought I could get with Chromie, but yeah, nah, I can pop on up. Hey, she'll be right, she'll be right. No worries about it. We can see the fight is continuing. Juggerob and Miss Modus Trollin is going to get hit by that. Oh, and we're going to pause, actually. Which actually this works out. As I'm going to quickly throw it over map view screen, have a quick drink, so just give me a moment while I mute myself. So I'm back. I've got a little bit of water in me now, which helps my throat out actually a lot. God dang. So, what's happened so far is one of the members of Nexus Cats has had a disconnect. So we're just waiting on them getting back in. It was the offlane of the Auric. So in terms of how the map was going, it was very much... The map was kind of going in favor of Nexus Cat so far. However, all random all middle age has had some good fights. In terms of, I'm gonna actually just throw it on over to the in-game screen so we can talk about things easier. Sure, you can see chat, but we're actually just figuring this out. So, looking at it, Vala's actually getting up there in her Gambit stacks, 129. So that's starting to pack a decent punch, but keep in mind she has died 4 times, so she's lost 20% of that attack speed bonus that she gets, so she just has 1 stack of that Gambit quest left. So it's still just 5%. Tahaka's nearly finished in Heart's Agility. He's just a little bit off. I don't know how far through he is with that last step, but he is at least at the last step. Tychus is Master Assassin, so took the baseline attack speed up, and once he gets 15 stacks, will be going even faster. Leoric nearly done with his stacking quest as well, and we also know that 2 forts are down. Both of them just happen to be all random, all middle age, and it looks like Arthano says they are ready. Jugrob says ready as well, and it looks like there's a little bit of game crash from Leoric, and they're counting us in, so let's go. Thank you for following someone. I heard the ding sound, but I don't know who it is. Oh, I've not seen enough of this face. Thank you, Seven Face, for following. I still want to quite interrupt this screen. We hear blue team's core is under attack, because there was a little bit of Siege Giant pressure on it, but we're back to the action now. And 20s are actually through for Nexus Cats. We do see Running Tychus, Piercing Sands on Chromie. There is the ever-present buried alive from Leoric. And actually that grenade held them back for barely long enough where Leoric was able to get the Dragon Knight. And we can actually see that's Joanna going down first. Muffin Man's being chased down by Dragon Knight. Will actually go down to flames. And we see Tychus takes down Vala in the back line. And all of a sudden, this looks like it may be an end call for the side of Nexus Cats. Maybe it was a planned disconnect by Quorfin just to make sure that they can throw the side of all random all middle age off, but I doubt it, as it is Nexus Cats going to call. We see Anduin gets hit by Barber's tongue, getting relatively low actually. Minus 20 armor, they walk out. We do see Barber gets the boot, and Anduin's just healing themselves in the corner, isolated, afraid, and scared. But GG's are called by both teams. I'll be the first map of the series. Going over to the side of Nexus Cats. GG's. Right. So, in terms of stats, Arthano had a decent amount, like a lot of damage. Had for most of the game by a decent margin. 7k was the next one with Chromie, but we can see that hero damage, siege, healing, and soak in general all were kind of in favor of Nexus Cats. All random, all middle age had some very good moments, but it felt like that was it was a hyper carry comp, but I didn't quite feel like it was connecting as well as they wanted, I think. Which is unfortunate, but I guess it does happen. There's not too much to really say about that, just because at the end of the day, it is what it is. In terms of talents, let's have a look as well. God, my throat is dry. I need to take like a throat lozenge after this. Everything makes sense from what I can see, and just quickly going through the lists. Interesting, we see Symbiosis with one who collects. Typically you see the Hero Stalker talent if you go that level 7. So get Essence when your W hits an enemy hero and your W goes off more. I'm personally a fan of Tongue at level 7 if I'm going the one who collects. But if I'm going Hero Stalker, that's when I start to go into Symbiosis. There's very good and inevitable end usages by Malfail, kept him alive a fair amount, and we can see he did get a couple of last right kills. Well, actually I think he got one last right kill onto the Garrosh as well. And that, Tychus, good auto attacks. Just in general, oh, sorry, I'm just checking if there is anything there, but no, there isn't. Grenades, sand, yeah, everything else kind of makes sense. I have been seeing fast forward more and more. It wasn't one of my kind of go-to talents on Chromie. I usually pick the activatable, but fast forward can definitely do a lot. And if you are standing in that range where you can just absolutely spam the Qs, because if you can just honestly just keep hitting them as fast as you can, you're going to get more than any of the spell power bonuses can actually give you, which I'm personally a fan of, especially if you already have that 10% spell power bonus from Time Walker's Pursuit. But alright, let me throw it onto the map view, tick a few things off, and I'm curious where we will be going next. So as we can see, Nexus Cats did both choose and win Dragonshire. So will be interesting to see what the next map is. I am going to make sure I don't accidentally get into a Storm League game, because that would be my worst nightmare come true. As no one actually wants to see me play Storm League. I am not the best player in the world, nor am I the worst. I'm just average. And you guys are here to see some coordinated gameplay, not me freaking out, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. Which, as funny as that sounds, really is just a little bit sad. But with Dragonshire and the map bans, I'm wondering what we can maybe expect. Never mind, it's Battlefield of Eternity. That is the next map from what I can see. And it looks like it was Nexus Cats who chose Battlefield. Which, fair enough. It is a fun one to say the least. It does kind of suit that fighting style that Nexus Cats were on about a bit more in that game. And it does seem like that all random, all middle-aged area definitely wants to play a more macro-orientated game. So I was wondering I was actually wondering if they would have taken map pick, but apparently not. So, we're just waiting on everyone to fill in. I believe we're just waiting on one. I don't know who it could possibly be, because I certainly can't remember all the names that are in the last game, which, absolute flaw of mine. Drum roll, who is it? How can I not remember all the people who are just in the game I watched? That's impressively shocking memory on my part, so sorry. If I scroll up, will it tell me? Whom was it? No. Either way, it's not the person who disconnected that we're waiting on. But it's fine, we do have a little bit of time. I hope everyone is doing well this evening, and thank you for the follows. A was offline, and B just Dingo and 7th. I don't properly get to say thank you, but thank you, do definitely appreciate it. Oh, it's funky, that's right. But it looks like everyone is in. They're not quite ready yet. Well, actually, I may take that back. Because we see one team is ready, I am ready. We're just waiting on the other, and we'll see where we go. Which isn't anywhere just yet. We are just being a little bit patient, which we do like. I'm just like trying to think in my head. But I guess I should do it out loud because I have the mic. I may as well talk. What do... Oh, we're in the game. That came through very late. So let me swap it into Battlefield of Eternity and we'll see where this draft goes and kind of where I'm kind of sitting with it. Because what it needs to happen is all random, all middle-aged definitely need to build up something that can fight a bit better than the last game. And actually, first ban we do see does go over to Diablo once again. They're not wanting to see that Diablo, so that's actually one of those good aggressive tanks that's pretty decent to get rid of early on. Especially on this map, there are a lot of close walls. Blaze also banned out again, so very similar bans. What was banned here next? Was it another tank? I'm gonna like see it go, oh, that's right, it was that. But I don't quite see that one yet. What is gonna be? Hard to tell from here. Because I just need a tank choke, probably. I feel like it was, no, it wasn't Nubarak. They ban out and win this time, actually, which, in all honesty, I like the ban. It's going to make things much harder for Nexus Cats, and it kind of indicates that maybe we're going to see a Taunt variant come out, something like that, or maybe their own Garrosh. I wouldn't mind the Taunt variant here. Taunt variant would actually be quite a nice pickup. And maybe have your offlaner pick him up, like, aha, it's going to be Smash, then swap it around a bit, because Smash, honestly, is currently good of a current state of the game. Lunara also maybe a one that's picked up early. This is a good Lunara map. But also they do have first pick, and we do see Joanna picked up once again. Right. maybe healer damage. I think healer damage sounds like a pretty good starting combo. Man, my throat was actually... Sorry about this. Right, what are we going to get? Li Ming and Tychus. Okay, pretty good start. Li Ming has pretty good race on this map with that Q build with like 7 and 13 Qs coming through. And Tychus just in general has been pretty much a menace in that last map. He was kind of racking up that damage and getting those kills. So, what are we going to see to counteract that from all random, all middle-aged? Do we get something like a Cassia? Unlikely. We get Rhaegar once again. And we get Raynor this time. I imagine we're going to see... I think it's called... No, is it called Executioner? Wait. What's it called? The Inspired Talent level 1 that lets him do extra to monsters and stuff. I can't recall off the top of my head. Damn. Actually, however, we do see Lunara banned out once again, which, interesting. You'd imagine that it was a Reyna pick instead of Lunara, just because they feel very similar kind of sustained damage roles. But I guess it isn't a bad ban by any means, just because those two would allow incredibly good race. Oh, can we see Artanis this game? I'd love to see an Artanis this game. I don't think we will. But we do, however, see a Thrall ban come through, and I do recall Corfin has picked up that Thrall 1 or 2 times, so I do like the ban. Was it Corfin who picked it up? I think there's someone in the team who picked it up, but I think it was Corfin. Either way. Exterminator, thank you, Kobo. I honestly was looking at it like, I can't remember. I thought it was something like that, but yes, you are definitely correct. Welcome to the caster man, doesn't know what things are called. Also, thank you, Ewok, for following. Greatly appreciate it. And now we see a May and the Auric pick up. So, not quite as aggressive as the last game, but still. I do like the combo. May is very good at zoning. That's like kind of the other ideology you can use on this map. You can have a very good zoner, or you can have a good engage. And Joanna, very good at kind of counter-engage zoning, same as May. So this may be a few interesting fights we see happen. There's the Artanis. Hell yeah, brother, let's go. And we also see Chromie picked up. Which, I like the Artanis pick in all honesty. It adds that extra kind of engage you can use to start a fight. If you can get something high priority like Tychus, or what I imagine is going to be Decade, with some healer such as that. No, it is Lucio in fact, which kind of makes Artanis a lot worse. But he can still do pretty well if he finds one of those squishier targets. All in all, I like both these drafts. They both kind of want to focus on the objective more. There is a little bit more team fighting aspect to Nexus Cats, while all middle age may get through the objective easier, but I guess we'll have to see how that goes, as I'm going to click that opening scene, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the game.
Oh, a swap. Oh no, but a swap followed by a light bulb.
Here. 4-man mosh pit followed by a tomb. Oh no!
Oh, here's Light Bomb coming in on the Genji, and that's a 5-man Light Bomb. They're going to follow up, and they're going to get 1, 2, 3 kills.
And it's gonna be everybody dying. Oh my god, when does this happen? Everybody's dead.
Right, and it actually is timed well this time, but we'll actually start with the right-hand side of Nexus Cats. We have Corfin on the Leoric once again. Mark Zombie is on May. Funky Soul on Lucio. Pit Wolverine spinning their heart out on the Li Ming, and Arfino on Tychus once again. And on the left side, we have Poppin for all random all middle age. We have... I immediately forgot his name. Poppin Fresh on Artanis. We have Barber on a Beast Step and Chromie. Muffin Man on Rhaegar once again. Motostron on a spinning Raynor, and Juggerob on Joanna. But it does look like we are going to be getting that Li Ming Q build. But I imagine we may see Triumvirate at 4. Just because orbs getting thrown in and getting resets can still get a lot of value. And we can see now Exterminator Raynor, amateur opponents on the Artanis, both very good pickups. We see Muffin Man take a lot of damage. Actually, Funky Soul may have interrupted a few combos going off here, as Muffin Man may have lived a little bit longer if Lucio didn't boop them. Or maybe, I should say, maybe they would have gone for kill onto Muffin Man if Lucio hadn't used that boop. But instead we see a living Rhaegar and actually Arthano getting relatively low themselves, as this is a very aggressive frog. Meanwhile, we can see the good old consistent damage going on their Sojourn top, seeing if they can sneak a camp without everyone else noticing. And meanwhile, we can see Arthano and Funky Soul stealing the camp. So I do like this. I like this aggressive play from Modus Trollin, starting it. But I do also like this, making sure you can cancel out the later game. Well, the decent push power that the Shaman camp provides. I can see Corfin's actually holding relatively low, actually making sure they can't get there in time. But it looks like that both camps will come out at the same time. And I have a feeling that All Random All Middle Age may not let the side of Nexus Cats get away with something quite like that again, because that's a little bit cheeky, and I do love it. Do love a little bit of cheeky action like that. It's quite hard to play out. And we do actually see Artanis as the one to go down. I really need to focus on the offlane more. The offlaner is a fun laner. I should really have keep an eye on them, because I'm going, ooh, what's happening offlane? Oh, they're dead. Oh, they're dueling. Oh, they're clearing. That wasn't even remotely clicking right here. If we go, ooh, he's clearing, he's pushing. Meanwhile, we can see that fours are through first for the side of Nexus Cats. And All Random All Mage is a little bit behind because they did miss out on fake hit of that kill onto Artanis. It's not so much for kill that gets experience here, but it's more so that the experience denied from that kill is what's important. Fours through for both teams. In terms of stacking, we do see Deep Breathing was picked up by the Chromie, which is a nice fun one. We do also see that Tychus went Master Assassin once again, so that attack speed build up will honestly do. It's probably a bit more important than the others on this map, especially because that attack speed bonus is just flat. It's not so much a percent damage to heroes, because well, percent damage to heroes is nice and all. It's not quite as good as attack speed for the race, as the Immortals don't take percent damage. Fun fact. And we can actually see in terms of race that All Random All Middle Age has absolutely burnt that Immortal down, and they do have now the advantage coming into the second half of the Immortal phase. Honestly, one of the members of, yep, we see Arthano is the one going to go race. He changes his mind, comes back as a Pet Wolverine, who's doing it now. Juggerob taking a decent amount of damage to start. And we do now see Poppin' Fresh is joining the team. He does get a few little hits on the Coffin. However, they're not Protector of Aya. They're not going to quite get that damage bonus that you sometimes see on it. But amateur opponent still very good at this map. You can see now that it's slowly going in favor of... No, it isn't, because we see Modus Trollin is going to be the one who goes down there, as they are just taking a little bit too much damage, and we now see Li Ming is going to go race, while the rest of the team forces out the side of All Random All Middle Age. But there's still a lot of race that needs to happen before then. They are quite far behind. We can see that Juggerob is coming now to pester them, but I imagine they'll take a decent amount of damage soon enough. See, Poppin' Fresh has circled behind the team, but that will be a dead Chromie going back onto Poppin' Fresh. We do see Funky Soul is going to try and interrupt them. Nice swap by Poppin' Fresh, meaning they won't get back into the danger zone. And it looks like the objective, despite the good fight of Nexus Cats, will be going over to the side of All Random All Middle Age, but they're at least going to make it costly for the side of it, All Random All Middle Age, as they do get a couple of kills along, well actually a few kills along the way. Funky Soul, however, nearly nullifying that advantage and dying there, but nope, they did escape. Right, the Immortal Ilarion is now pushing into the gates of Nexus Cats. We do see the clear starts, and actually this Immortal is going down relatively quick, but it is still quite an early game Immortal. There's not too much you can do about it. Mark Zombie does go do a little bit of an interrupt, but won't quite get any too major damage or slows or anything like that on the enemy team. It's a nice big blind though, but won't quite get anything there. Modus Trollin is pushed back into the team, but as I said, May isn't really a Oh, she is a CC tank, yes, but she isn't really an engaged tank. She very much is a counter-engaged tank. If you want to push into her, it becomes much harder. However, with things such as Lucio, you can kind of get this pseudo counter-engage with knockback, with push-off knockback into things such as Blizzard, which can mean that people get hit by what they weren't quite expecting, such as an hourglass in a bush. No one quite expects that. Well, they know where hourglass is going to be, more or less. They don't expect to just run into the hourglass. Nice combo tip at Mark Zombie. Modus trolling taking a lot of damage but will not go down. And the Infector was actually Funky Soul, who takes a decent amount of damage on their own in the end. Does have to back out, but we do see they are going to go to safety. Where's my mouse? There it is. How's the offlane going? Relatively even. Right, back up here. Chromie hitting Mark Zombie. Mark Zombie getting hit by the Q from Raynor. Give me a moment so I just have some more water. I guess the thing to say, the big advantage that despite having their camp stolen, all random all middle age do now have it up as an option to go on again. Because it had to get stolen so early, it means that the side of, well, all random all middle age do get to pick it up before this objective, as, well, the side of Nexus Cats one has only just gone up. Meanwhile, we can see the race has started already. Funky Soul pushes Juggerop in. Entomb gets used. We actually see the kitchen sink is getting thrown here as well. Ice as well, but nope, nothing is found there on the May. Despite 3 heroics being thrown, well, 2 heroics and a long cooldown being pushed at her. And we see Modern Trollin is actually the first one to go down. But Bruce, we see that Siege Camp is being defended. We see race happening for all random all middle age. Meanwhile, Lucio, Funky Soul, and Mark Zombie are wanting to defend. Pop and Fresh is looking like they want to push in. However, Mark Zombie says no. And that is the first half of a race going over to the side of Nexus Cats. Right, so we're getting aggressive Immortals now. You have to get onto the aggressive side of the map to do so. And now that both teams have 10s, you may just want to be a bit patient if you're Nexus Cats. Make sure you can get that Ice Wall up before anything else can happen. I can't see. It is up now. Juggerob is found. We see Barber is actually one getting collapsed on. Taking a decent amount of damage process. There is Ancestral. Barber actually lost over half their health here. We see a nice blind by Joanna. Actually, that's Modus Tron going down first. But Barber is holding on for dear life, however. Icewall coming out one, Barber on the other. So we get a little bit of split focus. However, Juggerob will be one taking the damage. We still Chromie going down to Lucio. And the rest of the team finding Joe. And actually, we did indeed see Calamity. So we're definitely getting more of a fight build coming out from Nexus Cats as opposed to the objective side of things, which all random all middle age elected to use. Bruce Camp all the while has been pushing this top lane. You can see it's got a decent amount done. But it looks like Pop and Fresh wants to put a stop to that, but Corfin decides to push just a little bit of what they can. Now, it is a half shield Immortal coming into the gates of all random all middle age, so Nexus Cats looking to capitalize this. Keep in mind, slowing Sands makes it a little bit harder as it slows down the allied team. Well, the team of Nexus Cats, I should say, rather. But we can see now the woman in the bear onesie is looking to get very aggressive, decides not to be. Funky Soul and Mark Zombie is hit by Joanna's stun. And that is the first fort down of the game. It looks like Corfin is wanting to get an Entomb here. Muffin Man running for one way people didn't expect. However, his body will get absolutely launched out of there. And that will be a very dead Rhaegar. Poor dog. That poor dog. Oh, that laser drill is just out of range of towers, which is unfortunate. But I guess you do accidentally put it in that place from time to time. And while it's not the end of a world that it's there, it definitely could have gone a little bit more value if it was just that smidge closer. Now we do see just good old resets happening from the side of Nexus Cats. Right, and I'm back. We get a nice camp take from Nexus Cats. We got all random all middle edge looking to push in bottom. If we have a look at stats real quick, we can see that, yeah, Nexus Cats are definitely having the team fight over all random all middle edge so far, but all random all middle edge's race has been a bit absurd when it happens. They can actually get that advantage that quick. So in all honesty, I think what needs to happen is random all middle edge just go in, get what they can objective and just go out, like kind of breathing almost, just in and out, in and out, in and out. Don't stay around for too long. Don't die a hero. In terms of healing, we see 23k on Rhaegar and a very dead Artanis. But that'll be, unfortunately Artanis going down, and once again we're getting that one kill just for objective can make or break fights. Funky Soul getting a lot lower than I think they want to, but however it looks like Rhaegar tries to get Ancestral, will not quite get it. Juggerop getting a nice kill of a process, but will not, well actually make a complete quest, but they will not save the Rhaegar, and in fact themselves will die, and that is now objective up. However, Pet Wolverine and Funky Soul looking like they need a reset as they are out of resources, and may need to do that before the Joanna and the Rhaegar come up. Right. Nice burn of the Immortal, and that's the first half going over to Nexus Cats. We can see that Raynor is trying their best to get their value elsewhere in the meantime, getting themselves caught up on experience. Both teams are on the same talent tier, but not for long, as it is Nexus Cats knocking on the door of 16. But when will 16 answer? Not too long. They are just getting up out of the sofa, getting off the couch, and making sure they can do what they want. Nice swap by Taz in the backline. Meanwhile, Corfin's taking a lot of damage, just need to back out. Nice boot by Lucio, doing the best to keep everyone alive. Mark Zombie, actually, however, is taking a lot of damage. Corfin gets the Entomb out onto Muffin Man. Race does go over to the side of Nexus Cats. We do see that as everyone barely holding on. Funky Soul trying their best to make sure everyone stays up. Didn't actually use Beat Drop there, so I'm surprised everyone lived as well as they did. But that is now the 12-minute Immortal going over to the side of Nexus Cats. It's going to be quite potent. Yeah, sure, all random all middle age can defend it pretty well, but it's not going to be the easiest for them by any means. Mark Zombie slides in, does hit Motor Strong on Muffin Man with the E. Juggerop getting hit by the orb ricochet. Not ricochet, but the orb splash damage as it hits something. Right. Very much, pretty much a full health Immortal starting race. It does burn down the gate. There's the second part of the gate, so Tower and Gate. We do see a nice Immortal stun onto Raynor, then followed up by the May stun. Was cleansed by Rhaegar, however, by that point, they just took too much damage. They weren't able to move because of an Entomb, and that was a very dead Raynor, which removes a lot of the damage, Immortal damage. Not quite what you want, but definitely appreciated if you're Nexus Cats, but not wanted for all random all middle age. What I'm trying to say, but we see Joanna goes down next. We have a reset going out onto Li Ming, but Li Ming is out of resources, very much the same for Funky Soul. Ice Wall finding one immediately. We do see Dragon Laser Jewel drop. There is no follow-up W from Mark Zombie, however they do get rid of themselves. Barber taking a lot of damage. Will Corfin get killing it? No, they miss the bucket, and that will be Chromie living a little bit longer. Meanwhile, all random all middle age has respawned, so either Nexus Cats need to either do what they can now, or that will be game. Or that will be all random middle age trying something, but nope, that is the game. And the series going over to the side of Nexus Cats. GG's called by both sides, so let's have a look at the game review summary screen. Once again, we had a pretty strong showing for Nexus Cats. All random, all middle age definitely had a bit more trouble with that one this time. They didn't quite get any kills. They did a bit more map. They had a bit more map presence. They had a bit more team fight, but even then, it still didn't seem to really favor them all that much, which I guess does happen from time to time, but it did seem very much like Nexus Cats had their number this evening. In terms of stats, we see Leoric had a lot more siege than everyone else. We do see Chromie had the most hero damage, but they were being forced to fight a lot on their own Immortal. But yeah, that was a very nice wall. You're right, just catching up with Chromie. Sure wasn't quite any follow-up for it, but still did a decent amount nonetheless. Right. Other things to note. Soak in favor of Nexus Cats, as Leoric was definitely up there once again. And healing, Lucio just absolutely pumped that out. Not much you can do about it. So I'm going to pop myself in a lobby, and if someone wants to join me, so be it. I don't quite know. Who was the captain again? Was it Arfino? I'll also flip it over stats while I'm just organizing this. I'm bad with interviews, so I may as well just keep trying to do it. It was Nexus Cats. Interview. What do you mean you're trying to? Oh, we're trying to... Right. And GG called by Norson, which fair enough, GG. Well played to both sides. So I'd be interested to see if anyone joins us, but fair over talents if anyone's interested, even if it stands out. Not in particular. We have W's, we have a very standard race build from both Artanis and Raynor, Chromie. Not quite the standard Q race build, but still did a decent amount with it. Meanwhile, Li Ming definitely leaned into more team fighting than I originally expected. They did get a decent amount of damage up, but not... They got a lot of damage up. They got very good use out of it. Calamity being inherently more team fight related. And that Funky Soul, I do like this build. It did do a lot for him. Interesting to see Sound Barrier. I don't actually recall it being used too much in those team fights, but I guess it did pay off of him, so to speak. Well, let me throw it on over to map view. And actually, we have Mark Zombie with us. G'day, Mark. How are you doing today? It's going alright, me. So how do you guys feel coming off of that series?
Okay, Soul here, our sub.
Yeah, I did notice it wasn't Lulu for once. Actually, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think Lulu didn't want to go up against Jugger Rob, so she's pretending to be sick.
You know, understandable. Jugger Rob did seem like a little bit of a menace, to say the least, on that Joanna, both of those maps. So, map 1, Dragonshire. You guys very much had a aggressive fight style comp. Was that kind of really your game plan going into this? Just see if you could stick it to them, what they're going to do with it? Or did it just kind of happen that way because of the bans and such?
I think the bans had something to do with it, because the few times I've subbed for us, I've gone Rek'Star a couple times, like the one time I played or whatever, and it's gone decently well. And so they happen to ban Rek'Star, and so it's like, all right, let's just take it to them.
Yep, and Diablo banned both times. I imagine then, Mark, you're a bit of a Diablo player.
I've played the hero before. There's not too many tanks to choose from, but
fair. I'm surprised there wasn't a bit more of a tank choke. So that first map, you kind of you got a very early Garrosh flip onto the Vala, and I think that kind of just set the tone for the map, because you were able to get away with quite a few of those. Were you kind of happy with how often you were able to catch Vala out, at least considering they were that Gambit talent?
Yeah, I know. You want to go? You go.
No, Funky, it's all you.
All right. Well, we definitely know after in the post game we looked at like the stats screen and we're like, oh, we only died like 3 times. Like, I know we just didn't feel too pressured the whole game, and it felt like Garrosh could get whatever he wanted whenever he wanted, and credit to the tank and the follow up. Right, it just worked out. Got a lot of picks.
And this second map with you chose the May over another aggressive tank like Garrosh once again. Is there any reasoning for that? Because it's very much a more counter-engaged tank, but you guys still managed to make it work.
Yeah, I think we saw that they had like the we were thinking they might do like a Bloodlust with the Raynor and the Rhaegar, but having Artanis, Rhaegar, Raynor, the blind value just seemed pretty good.
Okay. And like I know when I first saw their first like kind of half of race right at that first immortal, they burnt that very quick. How you guys kind of did that kind of make you go, oh, actually we need to fight for the rest of this? Or what were you guys kind of going into once you saw that kind of first heavy burn they managed to pull off?
Yeah,
they raced fast. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm surprised actually Li Ming did go that kind of Calamity build, because I thought you guys would have maybe tried to match it. Was the original fought kind of go for the race, or was it always fight?
We like to fight on that map. We kind of just try to have our grounds covered and make sure we have a comp that makes sense that can do kind of both team fight and race. So yeah, I mean, we obviously saw them racing. It did catch us off. They
For
had
sure, yeah.
really like they melted it so fast.
So fast.
But yeah, we kind of just at the halftime in the first one, we just stepped up and defended pretty heavily and got a bunch of kills, and then it was a kind of a slow burn having Li Ming just race it down, but we were able to just kill them in the team fights. So
Right on.
We got a couple picks there. Like on that one, I know we got Chromie trying to sneak in damage on that, and I remember I think Arthur now was saying we're playing for death timers or something, and then it turned out to be the case, so it worked really well.
And with that kind of domination now, do you guys know where that makes you sit for the upcoming playoffs? Like, are you in the playoff picture, or where's this going to put you by the end of a round? Do you know?
Arthana said we needed the Dom to make playoffs or to contend for it. But yeah, this division I've played in the NGS since season I think 5, and this division has been really tight. So we're hoping to get there, and we had a little bit of a rough beginning of the season, but we're really starting to kind of come online, which is maybe typical Nexus Cats fashion towards the end.
I know I've been on a few teams that's been like that as well. So, any other kind of things you want to say? Kind of any thanks or anything else? The floor is yours.
I'll shout out the whole team. I'm like the sub that just comes in when needed, and I gotta say I love playing with this team, and it's always really positive, and communication's great, and yeah, shout out to the squad.
Yeah, I'll shout out the Lime Bus, and you have a really nice profile picture there, icon. Looks like you put a lot of work into it.
A lot of work,
that
maybe a
you-
very loose term.
Keeping the dream alive and casting HOTS. It makes me really happy
indeed.
anytime we get the casters, because it's a lot of work and time. So thank you, the Lime Bus.
Appreciated.
Shout out to my team, I guess, if I have to.
I guess.
Oh, yeah, you know, those guys you play with most of the time. Shout out to them, I suppose. But no, thank you for coming in here, and I hope good luck with your last game next week, and hopefully you guys can just squeeze out that playoff position.
Crossing
Thank
the
you so
fingers.
much, Lime Bus.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Right. So that was our cast for this evening. It was All Random, All Word Age, first Nexus cast. Also, thank you, Corfin, for following, I believe. I did see that in the background. That is going to be it for me for now, however, because I can feel my voice dying, and I kind of need it for both A, my job, and B, if I do want to cast more other days this week. So I have been your caster for this evening, The Lime Bus. And that was Nexus Cats taking the series 2-0 against All Random, All Middle Age. So to everyone who has joined, I wish you good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending where you are in the world. And I'll see you guys in the Nexus. Goodbye, well, at least for now.